What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Global Podcast. I am your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and with me, as always, is my good buddy Link. What's up, bro?
What's going on? Good to be here, guys. Thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, comment. This is a post draft show. We want to know your thoughts, your grades on how the Titans did, how excited you are going forward. So let us know what you think in the comment section. And then, like I said, give us a like, subscribe. The show's free. We do it for you guys. We enjoy doing it. So hop in here with us.
Absolutely, like he said, get in the comments, man. Talk about it. If you agree with us, if you don't, whatever. Uh, yeah, all right. Draft grades. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna grade every single draft pick, and we're gonna grade the two trades that the Titans did as well. Start off. I mean, I've been arguing for Cam Ward since the end of the season. So obviously, I give the Titans an A+ for that. I don't think there's a whole lot of explanation that I need to give for that because I've been giving it for 3 months now.
Yeah.
There you go. So what do you think about the Cam? What grade do you give the Titans for drafting Cam Ward, number one overall pick?
Yeah, look, I think if you asked me maybe even like 2 months ago, I would have said it was like a B. I wasn't sold on Cam Ward. I liked the idea of trading back. I thought you had a lot of pieces to fill. Um, but I will say after the draft and just before the stories that were coming out, typically when you get stories about a guy after the draft, it's negative. It's they got in trouble, the university kind of covered it up, and
Yep.
maybe teams didn't hear about it in the interview. But with Cam Ward, it's the complete opposite. I mean, this dude, all the coaches coming out, the insiders coming out. I mean, just the respect and praise that people have for this guy is just bar none. I haven't really seen anything like it, and I don't think he got a lot of attention just because, like, I don't think it's a Titans national media thing. I think it's just more Shadur was the big story, and everybody knew where Cam Ward was going. They knew he was going number one overall. There was no sense in beating a dead horse. So, like, yeah, I get it. But I love this pick now. Just with everything that's come out, the leadership, the mentality, the videos. I mean, it jumped me from a B 2 months ago to a solid A at this point. So yeah, I think I would be shocked with the things I know about this player to date. I'd be shocked if he fails. I think it's going to be a huge testament to this coaching staff to see if they can develop him because he's got all the traits, he's got the leadership, he's got the mentality. I love it. I love the pick.
Yeah, man. I'll be honest with you. I've been on the Cam train for a while. You know that, but
Yep.
it was an interesting twist of fate to see, and it is. I mean, I agree with you. It was a storyline that Shadur Sanders was dropping, and not only dropping, but dropping that far. I
Yep.
don't think anybody really predicted that. I mean, I jokingly said it on Twitter, but that was just a joke. I didn't actually think that was really going to happen.
Yeah.
But that was the storyline. But at the same time, I feel like it's just another one of those Titans things where we just don't get the media we should. And Cam, I guess you get picked by the Titans, you don't get the media. You really should. But it was a beautiful thing watching his draft call. Seeing him, cry a little bit, because men cry. That's what happens when you do awesome things or you achieve things that you've been working for many years. Yeah. So I really loved the pick. I thought it was a great pick. I give him an A+.
Yeah.
I'm glad that people are starting to finally come around.
Well, and the draft itself. I mean, that's just another thing to his character. Like, and I've got nothing against the flashy, like show up, show out, wear your biggest chain. Like I'm not opposed to that. But Cam Ward, like, and I think he's quoted saying, I'm humble because I know what it's like at the bottom. And he does. I mean, he came up as a 0-star recruit. He worked his way up through the transfer portal and became a number one overall pick. And I mean, this guy's been an underdog his whole life. He's proved people wrong his whole life. And then to show up on draft night and just the simple suit, no flashy chain, no fancy clothes, no gold. Like it just like this guy wants to be a football player. And it goes back to the video with Shadur Sanders where he's like, hey, let's make a rap song together. He's like, no, when people look me up, like I want them to see American football. Like that's what I want to be known for. And like and you see the difference, and you see why a guy like Shadur Sanders maybe fell, where a guy like
Yep.
Cam Ward came from a 0-star recruit and worked his way up to the number one overall. So it just, again, I can't say enough good things about him to this point. And I don't know the guy personally. I mean, I don't know who he is behind closed doors, but as a player, as a leader, as a quarterback, as a face, hopefully a face of this franchise, I'm extremely excited for the future.
I agree. I am also extremely excited. And I think he raises our level just a little bit. I mean, I feel like if we would, obviously, I was not a fan of trading back once I decided I wanted Cam. But I feel like if we would have traded back, we would still be looking at 4, maybe 5 win team. I feel like taking Cam Ward at least wins us 2 more games just simply on quarterback play. I think I just think he elevates the team around him.
Yep.
And the way that he commands respect and stuff. I don't know. I've just seen a lot of qualities in him, and like you said, there's been a lot of stories coming out, and it's like, man, I agree with everything that they're saying, but it's like, man, I've been saying that.
Yeah.
Again, I'm glad everybody's finally coming around and seeing what I see.
Yeah, and well, you
Uh,
said it perfect right there. Is he elevates the players around him? Like that's what you need because with the Titans right now, if you look at what they've got on offense, he doesn't have all the receiver help that a rookie quarterback probably should. But this is what he's done from the time he was in high school through through the lower college schools to Miami. Like he elevates people around. I mean, look at Restrepo. He made Restrepo look like a top 10 receiver, and he's a UDFA. Now he's with the Titans. He gets to reunite with Cam Ward, but that just goes to show like they didn't have the best talent. On the outside, and he elevated the players around him, and that's what you want in your quarterback. Because I would rather see a season where the Titans win 7 or 8 games and Cam Ward looks like the guy, he looks like the face of the franchise, he wins you those games, then I would see us win 8, 9 games and the defense pulls you through and you have questions about Cam Ward. You know what I'm saying? Like I would rather
exactly.
have that lower win total and feel better about the offense, even if you struggle a little bit on defense, because we know this isn't a Super Bowl contender right out of the gates. I mean, Cam Ward obviously gives you a chance because he's proved people wrong his whole life, but you just want to see progress this year. You want to see enough for the coaching staff to get comfortable, for Cam Ward to get comfortable, for some of these rookies, some of these younger guys, these year 2 guys to kind of
Yep.
get a little more comfortable in the system, in the offense. Like that's what you're looking for this year. And if that means playoffs and you're in the hunt at the end of the year, so be it. But you need this offense to at least click better than it did last year.
Well, and like I said, I think it was a game or a show or two ago, but it doesn't really take a whole lot to win in the AFC South. So
Yeah.
I just and I don't know, Louis, what you doing, man? You clowning us right now or what, dude? Um. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the second pick, which is probably my least favorite. Well, no, it's not my least favorite pick, but it's one of my least favorite picks. And it's not because I don't believe in the guy. It's just because I'm not a fan of where he was picked at. I feel like there was some more help. My God, I wanted Trey Harris so bad, man. That was really my pick, and he was still there, and that's what hurts me the most, I think, about this pick. But that's the reason I have to give. We're talking about. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing this whole dude's name. It's Femi, and it's going to be Femi for as long as I'm around. Oladejio is how you spell his or
How
say his
about
last name. But
did they purposely make this draft just impossible with these names? I
oh,
mean,
dude, yeah,
with DK and AO Manor and it's just I don't know. I don't know what they were doing to us this year, but
I was telling my wife they absolutely effed us with the names this year, dude. It's absolutely
yeah.
killing us. But yeah, man. All right, so yeah, Femi, 6'3", 249, super raw talent.
Hmm.
Could be something great someday. I don't know. But right now, at that pick, I don't know. He was, by the way, when you try to do draft research after the fact and you look back at where their draft projections were and
Hmm.
how wildly they vary between websites, it's insane, dude.
Hmm.
No wonder everybody's board's different. Eh, Anyway, he was projected anywhere from number 57 is where I saw his highest ranking to 144,
Yep.
and he was picked at 52. So I just don't like that. You know what I mean? I like to get good value out of my. So I just, I don't know. But he is great at the run. I see when I watch his tape, I see a lot of cutbacks against
Hmm.
the grain, and that's, I mean, that's just a key thing to stuff out runs. He does have a lot of TFLs. I should have wrote that down, but I didn't. The exact number on that, but anyway, I gave him a C overall, but he could turn into a B or an A depending on, because he is a really high ceiling guy. But I don't know. I just didn't like him where he was picked. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at that point, if you look at what the Titans need, which is talent, um, I don't hate it. I mean, this is a guy who, if I'm not mistaken, he played inside linebacker and then was just moved to edge this year. He's actually only played a handful of games at this position, but I mean, the Titans obviously saw something in him that they liked, and he definitely has the potential. I mean, you said it. The ceiling is extremely, extremely high. And I don't know that the floor is that bad. Like, I think he's still going to be productive. He's going to have a chance to compete for pretty valuable starting time, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. I think if you get this draft, to me, especially this pick, is all about how well you can develop these guys, because the talent, the raw talent, is there. It's what this coaching staff can get out of them. So I don't hate it. I give this one kind of a B minus. Again, this probably is my least favorite pick. Um, but again, if I look at what's there, I know there were some guys you were high on, but if I look at what's there, I don't hate it. I mean, you traded back, you had your chance to go get the receiver that you wanted. You chose to trade back. This is where you ended up. This is what you were left with. We'll see if they make the most of it.
Yeah, that's the part of it that I really enjoyed was the trade back part, and we'll get to the trades later. I want to save those for last, really. But what letter grade do you give it
Um, B minus.
initially? B minus. All right. So you give him
B
a little more
minus.
credit than I did.
Yeah, just because, like, look, you're. They say you don't draft for necessity, but you still want to fill your needs. And the Titans had a good draft just because they had so many needs. Like, no matter what pick they made, like, it was really hard to fail this draft. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know. I give it a B minus just because you need help at that position. This is a guy with a high ceiling. He has a lot of potential. It's obviously something that you think you can develop. So we'll see how it works out. This is kind of how I felt about the Sweat pick, if I'm being honest. I'm kind of right
Same.
around. I think I actually gave that a B minus. Like, this is, but and hey, if it turns out like Sweat, then I'll eat my words again. But this is kind of what that feels like to me.
I agree. I just don't know. I don't know. He's just a little bit too developmental for me, but I agree that I think he might very high ceiling guy. Low ceilings even pretty good for him. Even his lows are decent. Um On to the third pick. Kevin Winston Jr.
Mm.
Penn State safety, 6'2", 207. He was ranked anywhere from 33 to 48 is what I gathered. So seems like a good value pick. Um, then I started doing a lot of reading. Did come off an ACL injury, which is super concerning for me with a defensive back with a leg injury because we have been burned so many times in the past with that exact thing. But he also is the most complete defensive back in the draft, if you ask me. Period. You look at his play in 2024, excuse me, 2023, I think. It's just fantastic. dude is a starter immediately. The moment he gets here, he's going to start for most teams. So I don't think it's a bad pick here. I actually like the pick. I just hate the fact that it's an injury. That always scares me, man. But I gave it an A. I don't give out A's a lot because my God, turn on some tape. Watch this kid. If you're not impressed, you know, I hope I don't have to eat my words in 2 years. But what do you think?
Other than Ward, this is my favorite pick. This is an A plus for me, and here's why. Because it's okay if the ACL injury didn't happen, this guy's going top 40 more than likely. I think he was
Yeah,
rated at 44 initially, but he's potentially a first round pick, 100%. One of the most talented DBs in the draft. Um, I don't. When you watch the tape, when you see him play, you got an absolute steal. And let's remember too. Now, let me say this: if you took him at 2, I hate it because of the injury.
same.
But you traded back in round 2. You passed up your receiver. You took your edge rusher later in the round, and then you got this 3 basically for free because you needed receiver, you needed edge, you ended up with edge. So you got this third round pick for free. You're taking a chance on a guy who could have been a first round pick. So you're playing with house money at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I think it'll be remembered if it doesn't work out. But I think it works out. I mean, this is a guy who did the combine. He ran his 40. So I don't have any concerns about the injury. He's going to be ready to go by training camp. This is seriously probably my favorite pick in the whole draft.
I agree. I think it's a great pick. Like the pick. So we're going to move on because we both agree with that one. Here's where we start with the names again. Chimere DK, I think is how you say his name. Would not have got that correct if I did not hear the draft myself. If I was looking at that, I would pronounce it a lot differently. But anyway, wide receiver, Florida, 6'1", 194. Speed Demon. Ran a 4.34 40 at the combine. And I wasn't really excited about the pick. I think he was rated somewhere at like 102 to 205. Holy crap. Are you serious? That's a pretty big range there, but that is literally what I got from the 5 different websites that I was using. I used the same 5 websites to look up every single person. That way I wouldn't be biased to one website or trying to use the best stats. Anyway, I wasn't a big fan of this pick until I started watching a little bit of tape and realized that he has a really, really crappy quarterback throwing to him. But he
The first
plays
part of the year. The first part.
but he plays every single position in the wide receiver.
Mhm.
And he runs a 4.340. So I kind of understand what they're doing there. They're trying to get somebody that can really stretch the field. And I don't know. I don't know. I keep trying to talk myself into this pick, I think is what the point of this is. But overall, initially, I give it a C. I'm just not, I don't know. I just don't like him there.
Yeah, I'm right around there with you. I'm a B minus on this one, and it's a simple fact. It's a guy. He was at Florida. He definitely came on later in the year. Once Lagway was put in, that was kind of a wild season for him. You start with really bad quarterback play, then you get a quarterback who can get you the ball, and you start showing what you can do. But I don't love. So he ran the 4.34, but when I watch the tape, I don't see that 4.34 translate on the field. Does that make sense? Like
No, yeah.
it does. He doesn't seem as fast in the pads running the routes. And yeah, I mean maybe I'm a Gator hater a little bit, but I don't see that speed. Now I think the reason they took this pick, the theory behind it, you're kind of spot on. I think he's that kind of clear out guy who can still take the top off of defense because he does have separation. He definitely makes separation. And I think you kind of want him to run those routes that Ridley was running last year when Hopkins was here. Like you kind of want him to be that guy. on the outside who can just run those vertical, even if you're, taking attention away from other guys, so you can get them the ball. So I don't know. It's a B minus again. You're at that point. You're trying to take talent. You see guys you can develop. You think you see something you like, and they did at least go receiver heavy. I mean, they've got a lot of guys in that room, and that's going to be the most interesting battle at training camp for me this year. Is going to be who makes this roster on that receiving team.
Yeah, and I'll say it right now. I caught a theme in this draft. Just as I caught a theme with Rand Carthon's draft, there is clearly a theme here. And at the end of these picks, we're going to talk about the theme. But it's pretty clear once you look at all the tapes and all the sizes and stuff. But we'll move on to Gunnar Helm. Another one of my favorite picks that we got. And the reason is because 6'5", 249, he doesn't have the size to be that Y tight end or whatever that you're looking for. Like some people have said Frank Wycheck, and let's just be real, he's not a Frank Wycheck. He's more like a Delaney Walker than a Frank Wycheck, but not even Delaney Walker. He's just not as thick, man. He just doesn't have that thick build that you want. Now, if you put about 30 pounds on him, but that's also going to slow him down, so I don't really like the idea of that because he is a excellent passer or catcher, excuse me. I think him building some character or some chemistry with Cam Ward at a young age in their football career, I think will do them well. I think Gunnar Helm, I said this, I think literally the day he was drafted, maybe it was, but it's a bold prediction. I feel like by the end of the season, he'll be the clear number one. There won't be any more question of whether Chig or Josh Wiley is a number one. I think Josh Wiley probably gets a lot of reduced playing time. I think him and Chig will probably be the 1-2 tight ends.
You still got DMR in that room too. That's another interesting battle because DMR's still there. I mean, what do you do with that? I mean, last year they kept all three, right? I think they had 4 at one point. Am I right?
They actually kept 4 tight. Was it 4 or 5? God, now I'm questioning whether it was 5.
You had DMR, you had Chig, you had Wiley. You had was it Vanette?
Austin Hooper? Vanette? Yeah, Vanette was there for sure.
So definitely 4, maybe 5.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not afraid of keeping tight ends. But the real point is though, I think that this kid has potential to boost us right now. So far, we've talked about a lot of picks, but I don't think a lot of these picks move the needle in 2025, except for Cam Ward and Gunnar Helm. So far. Might change in the future, but so far that's what I've got. I gave him a B+. I feel like it's a solid B+. What do you feel like, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I was between a B and B+. I'll probably go B+. I mean, look, this is your new Chig. I mean, this is the new franchise, the new coaching staff. Like, this is their Chig now, and I do agree with you. I think he's gonna have a leg up kind of in the battle, but I like that it's going to be a battle. I think Chig still definitely has something good that he can do if he can put a full season together. But I expect the playing time to be there. I think they definitely need to put a little bit more size on him, but he is a do-it-all tight end. He definitely is able to block, definitely a vertical threat, possession tight end. So yeah, I like it. It gives you more competition at that position. That's going to be super important for, again, a rookie quarterback. So the more guys they can have suit up and compete for that job, the better.
I agree. I think that it is, like I said, I think he's a steal here too. I didn't talk about his numbers, but he was ranked anywhere from.
That was my question. What was he projected as?
He was projected anywhere from 87 to 115, and we nailed him with a 120. Huh. So I feel like that's a good value pick. He was supposed to go before we picked, even at his lowest ranking.
Yeah.
Again, it's just like the Chimray. I have to say, or not Chimray. I'm sorry, Winston. I have to say at least we got them at a great value, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
They were projected to go before we took them. So at least there's that. And not on just one board, 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, for me, that's the top 5. There's PFF, the Draft Network, good Lord, what's the other one that, like the NFL Mock Draft Network or something like that, and then the NFL Draft. I can't remember the other one. Whatever, doesn't matter. Point is,
Which
these
one of
same
those
5
had
ones.
Shadur Sanders in the 5th round?
None.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, no, everybody from what I saw had Shadur on number 1, but I read a story. Speaking of this, I if y'all want to talk about the prank calls, hit me up or whatever, but in the chat. But the Brian Daboll, I think is how you say his name, the head coach of the Giants.
Yeah, New York,
Uh,
Dayball.
yeah, they came out with a story. I don't know if you saw this. They almost got into a physical altercation during their meeting at the combine.
I missed this.
Shadur
With
Sanders and
Shadur?
Brian Daboll. Yes, Brian Daboll came out and said today, I think it was, that he almost got into a physical confrontation with Shadur Sanders during their combine meeting. And I want to know what takes a head coach from thinking you might be a number 1 draft pick to I'm
Jeez.
going to whoop your ass. What conversation goes there? I mean, what kind of insults was he throwing at the Giants? That's the only
This is
way I
just
see
it
that.
just doesn't make sense. Like the guy's smart. Like he has to know, right? And
Well, I
like
mean, his dad
everybody
should
initially,
know.
but that's the thing. Everybody initially is like Dion, this is Dion's fault. This is Dion. Like I don't know. Like
I
maybe
don't think it's
Dion's the normal
Dion.
one. Like
I was
maybe
gonna say I don't
Dion's
think
the
it's Dion's fault. I
like
really don't.
I mean, yeah, I guess in a roundabout way, like you're letting him act this way, like you raised him to act this way. But like I don't it just doesn't make sense because even when you hear Shadur talk, like you don't get that vibe. Like, is he just like that behind closed doors? Am I missing something? Does he just not interview well? Like, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Well, I'll say this, man. Look, I'm not, and a lot of people say racism, but that's a dumb argument too,
Cam
man.
Ward was number one. Like, I don't,
Top
I don't get
25
that either.
picks, top 25 picks, 20 of them were black. So there's no reason to call racism. That's
Yeah,
stupid. That's
yeah.
just absolutely stupid. But there is something to it, and I don't know. I think it's just bad decision making. Look, I'll say it like this. I say this to my daughter every day. The decisions you make are the outcome of your life.
Mhm.
You either make good decisions and you have good outcomes, or you make bad decisions and you have bad outcomes. That's just the way life works. If you do bad things, it deals you bad cards. It's just the way it works. So, I mean, I feel like even if you get a little bit ahead and you're doing the wrong thing, even if you get a little bit ahead, somewhere along the way, you're going to get checked. And this was his check. And hopefully the young man takes some maturity behind it, humbles himself, goes in there and actually tries to make something out of Cleveland. I don't know that there is anything to make there, but hopefully that's what you hope, is that this is a like a catalyst for him to rise to his full potential.
Yeah. But like and that's the other weird thing about it too is so he goes to Cleveland and like I guess the good thing about it is you'll see because like he's got every chance to be the starter. I mean, you're talking about a quarterback room with Joe Flacco. Is it Pick is what Kenny Pickett? Is he there? What's the old Steelers? Anyway, Dylan
Yeah.
Gabriel, who was taken ahead of you in the draft, Dylan Gabriel, who was what was he, a third, fourth round pick, which is crazy.
Fourth round, yeah.
Okay, so like a lot of people had him undrafted. So Dillon Gabriel, which I like Dillon Gabriel. Honestly, I loved that pick. Absolutely
I do
loved the Dillon
too.
Gabriel
I
pick.
think
Like
he's going to be a good quarterback.
I think like, and you can go back. I promise I called this. I think he is the most NFL ready quarterback in this draft. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's the most athletic. I'm not, but I'm from a
I see
skill
where you're
set.
saying.
Yeah, from a skill set, I think what he did in college is going to translate the easiest out of these rookie quarterbacks. That's the best way to put it. I think his game will translate very well at the next level. But what I'm getting at is now you've got Shadur there with all these guys that he's competing against for a starting job, and like it's anybody's. Like it's a toss up at this point. So I don't know. Like it's just going to be a weird situation. I don't know where have they announced where Hard Knocks is going. Like I wanted the Titans to do it, but I want cameras in Cleveland so bad this offseason.
Bro, that would be
It
lit.
has to be, right?
I would.
Like
Oh my God. Absolutely. I want that
Jeez.
so bad. All right, so trying to steer back towards our original conversation because we got off on a great tangent there, but it's something to talk about for sure. Jake dropped by just to tell us that we suck, and
That's
we
nice.
know that. That's why we had the number one pick, dude. But Jed Clampett here, by the way, is the Beverly Hillbillies. If nobody knows that, that is a little thing there. Love the Beverly Hillbillies. Anyway, he says who's bigger, Helm or Chig? And I guess that's a which way do you define bigger? Because Helm is 6'5" and 249, and Chig is 6'3" and 238. I mean, Helm has a better reach,
Yeah.
stuff like that, but Chig is a meteor core. I don't know what it defines. It depends on what you think is bigger.
If you go back, where was Chig drafted? What round was Chig drafted in?
Let's see.
Do you remember that?
Third. I think it was the third round.
So was he a better prospect coming out in your mind? Like obviously hindsight's 2020, we know what Chig is now. But coming out of Maryland, I believe it was Maryland,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Coming out of Maryland, like was he a better prospect at that point in your mind?
absolutely, man. I mean,
Okay.
I was so excited when we got Chick. Actually, he was taken in the fourth round at 143 overall. So I have to correct myself a little bit there. Had to look it up because it was bothering me. But
So
there we
23
go.
picks
Fourth
later
year.
than Helm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I just got high expectations because Chig showed us so much at the end of his rookie season. We really thought his sophomore season was it,
Hmm.
but then he came on really slow, and towards the end of the season, he picked up, and we thought, all right, man, that was it. That was his sophomore slump. The third year is going to be it, and then the third year he did the exact same damn thing.
Yeah.
So I'm
He's
kind of
never
getting off the Chig ride.
Yeah, he's never put a full season together. Like I've just never seen that happen. But and hey, look, he's going into a contract here, so this is a big year for him. But like looking back at it, I think the way I feel about this is when Chig was coming out as a prospect in the fourth round, you felt like that ceiling was really high. Like I feel like his ceiling as a prospect is much higher than Gunnar Helms. However,
Yep.
I think Helms' floor is basically where Chig is now, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like I think
pretty much
for the
right. Yeah.
value, yeah, I mean I think for the value, you're getting a better pick in Helm than you did Chig.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, so let's move on. And I say this maybe more than once, but this is one of my favorite picks in the draft. Elick Ao Manor. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know,
was right.
man. I'm
Amen.
doing as good as I can. Wide receiver from Stanford, 6'2", 209. I actually put out a video about a month before the draft of Ao Manor and saying this guy is real. This is a real one. You need to pay attention. His ability to catch the ball at the perfect point where no one else, or blocking him out with their body. I don't know what you want to call it. High point in the ball, whatever your phrase is for that. He does that better than a lot, maybe two or three wide receivers, I would say, do it better than him. But I don't know. I think he is just as good as Tet on this one, T Mac. Uh, the kid is also crazy fast. He ran a 4.40 at 209 pounds and 6'2". He ran a 4.40. That is insanely fast. Apparently, he had some drop problems, but you can't make catches like Randy Moss in front of other people's helmets if the quarterback isn't throwing the ball to the wrong spot. So I will say, anybody know who the Stanford quarterback is? That's my point. All right. I'm going to give this kid a really clean slate, look at his traits, and say that this was a great draft pick. This is one of my favorites, maybe my favorite behind Cam. I want to give it an A plus, but I just can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm critical, but A for sure.
Yeah, I'm right around an A minus. I'll give it A minus, and I don't know why I don't want to give it an A. I guess just because if you think back, like I was trying to think the other day, like the last time the Titans drafted a receiver that earned a second contract. Like, I don't know. Like you've got to go way back because I mean most of the guys you drafted that had talent, you lost, and AJ Brown's obviously the glaring one. So I don't know. Maybe I just have, I guess, anxiety about wide receiver draft picks, but I do think you get a guy in A.O. Manor. Like, if you're not excited about this guy, just go watch his tape against Colorado, against Travis Hunter, the number two pick in the NFL draft. Like, go watch some of the catches he made. Now, and granted, Travis Hunter had a big day too, but like this guy showed you what his ceiling was. He showed you the talent. And look, this draft was a very it was very dense at wide receiver. There was a lot of talent there into the later rounds. I think in a lot of other draft years, this guy's maybe a third round, if not a second round pick. Like I think his talent is that good, his upside is that good. So, yeah, I like it. Again, A minus, just because I'm scared to get too excited about young receivers.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. I think A.O. Manor's awesome, and I'm happy we got him. And yeah, he had like 200. He had a career day, set a record at Stanford, like 249 yards, 12 catches, and 3 touchdowns against Colorado and Travis Hunter. And they say he's a better cornerback than he is a wide receiver. So, damn Jaguars. Anyway, whoever ended up with him, I wasn't going to be a fan of, so I'm sorry.
Hey, you get to see Travis Hunter twice a year now if you're the Titans. So
that's what I was going to say. Somebody commented about that game, and I was like, hey, man, we get to see that twice a year, every year, for as long as Hunter sticks around or A.O. Manor sticks around. We'll see which one poops out first. But anyway, stick around with us. We've got about a 40-second ad here. Got to do the thing, and we'll be right back.
What's up, Titans fans? Maximus Titan fan here. Are you in need of professional excavation services? Look no further. Red Zone Builders has the expertise, experience, and equipment to handle all or any excavation project, big or small. Whether you need land clearing, site preparation, trenching, foundation excavation, or any other excavation services, they have you covered. Their team of skilled professionals work diligently to ensure your project is completed safely, efficiently, and to your satisfaction. Trust the experts at Red Zone Builders to get the job done right.
All right. So, see, I told you it was quick. I did not talk about his projections, which I keep forgetting to do, damn it. projected lowest projection I saw was 69. Highest projection I saw was 35. 35, where we were originally supposed to pick in the second round anyway. We got this guy at pick 136, and his lowest rank was 69.
Did he have an injury? Did I
No?
see? And it's just curious to me. Like, I guess a guy like that, I don't know how he gets lost in the draft. You know what I'm saying? And I get like it was
It's a
very
small
talented.
school.
It was very talented at wide receiver this year. There wasn't a lot of flashy superstar names, but there was a lot of day one starting guys. So I
Yeah.
guess he just kind of fell based on that. But yeah, I mean, I think the value is pretty high if you look at the tape. So I don't know. Does it scare you a little bit that his projection was that high and he fell as far as he did? Or do you just contribute?
Not really. I mean, like I said, it's mostly Stanford and his quarterback. I mean, let's be real. You know, if you got 10 top wide receivers in the draft, by the way, he was one of the 10 in the 90th percentile. But if you got 10 wide receivers in the draft and, you know, 6 of them are from the SEC, 4 of them or 3 of them are from the ACC, and 1 of them is from Stanford. Who are you going with? I mean, it's I don't know. Obviously, there was some Big Ten sprinkled in there, but
yeah. Well, and I'll say too, he did. So I thought this was the guy. I had to look up and make sure he does have a history of knee injuries. He's
okay.
actually, as a senior in high school, he tore his ACL, MCL, and meniscus. So his knees basically rebuilt like at that point. And then after that, so his freshman year, he had to medical redshirt for an injury. He missed the Senior Bowl. So yeah, then he had some abdominal issues in 24.
Holy
So it seems
cow.
like, but it seems like the knee hasn't been an issue since 22, from what I can tell. So whatever they
That's
did, I guess it worked. So yeah, fingers crossed there. But if I were taking a guess on why he fell, the ACL, MCL, and meniscus is probably a good place to start.
Good sleuthing, my friend. Good sleuthing. I was somebody said something about the drops and kind of brought it up online, and I said, I'll be honest with you, man. I've watched highlights and stuff, but I haven't really watched a whole lot of just game tape.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know. I mean, I am excited from what I see, but you know, obviously I didn't do a whole lot of homework on that guy. And from here on out, I'll be honest with you, you know, they just fall behind the wayside. Although I do really like our next pick. I really do. Jackson Slater came from a tiny little school called Sacramento State, and I'll be real with you, man. When I heard the draft pick, I was like, "Who? Who the hell is Jackson Slater?" But then, as soon as I started reading stories, I remember when I was not covering, but looking over the Senior Bowl, that there were 2 linemen from very small schools that were not only holding their own with some of the defensive linemen from the bigger schools, but were actually stuffing their ass.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of them. He was doing a great job. Even the Marshall, what's the kid from Green?
Mm-hmm.
Stuffed his ass. I mean, just stops him dead in his tracks. There's a video you can look at it online, YouTube, Senior Bowl practice, Mark Jackson Slater, whatever. 6'4", 315. Dude is super fast for 316 pounds. He ran a 5 flat. A 5 flat. I can't run a 5 flat. Now, I do have screwed up knees, and you know, there's other reasons I can't run a 5 flat, but still, I can't run a 5 flat. So 5 flat at 315 pounds and 6'4" is ridiculous. Plus, the dude has great pass blocking skills. I think his senior year was 0 sacks, I believe, and like 5 pressures. I don't know. Might have to check me on that one. But run blocking not bad. Ranking 111 to 234. So that's pretty wild right there. And I think that was mostly, again, because of the small school thing. But I gave him an A. I gave it an A because I feel like, honestly, Jackson Slater is probably, not only is he the filler for this year, if we have any injuries on the interior offensive line, but I do believe he's going to take Ziegler's spot, Ziegler, however you say that dude's name, from the Lions that we got. 35 years old. He's not going to play very much longer. So I give this draft pick an A. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I give it a B. This reminds me of a lot. If you go back to 2017, in the sixth round, the Titans took a guy named Corey Levin, who just signed a new contract this year. Congratulations! And this kind of reminds me of that a little bit because it's a small school guy. He can come in and make an impact early. He offers you some depth. I think if something happens to Cush, I think this gives you depth at center. Obviously, like you said, this gives him an opportunity to sit behind a guy like Zeitler and learn from Bill Callahan and these older guys. So I think it's very similar to the Levin pick, but I think he's coming in a better situation where you're not asking him to contribute immediately unless necessary, but this is a guy that you're kind of grooming to be that starter, hopefully next year or the year after, depending what your line situation looks like. But look, they're doing it in the right way. I think this is the ideal way you want to build an offensive line. You want to have those veterans in free agency. You want to get the young guys in the draft that are going to come up behind them and take that spot, because that's where you want to build your offensive line, is through the draft. The most successful teams in the NFL have solid lines that they drafted 4 or 5 years ago. So that's what you're looking for. And I think you got a pretty good upside in this one. So yeah, I mean, I'm being, I guess I kind of downplay it a little bit with a B, but it's, I don't know. You're in the 5th round at this point. He's from Sacramento State. You haven't seen him in NFL action. He's going to see guys that he probably hasn't seen that size ever in his life line up on the other side against him. So, yeah, I mean, you can look really good in training camp, but it's a whole different story when you're out there full speed in the trenches against NFL talent. So yeah, again, I just temper my expectations a little and give that one a B.
Yeah, man, I don't disagree with that. He is very unproven at this point, but I am kind of excited to see where he goes. I do think he gets playing time this year. I don't think it's going to be significant. Maybe on special teams when we're, kicking the ball, or like you said, if the worst thing happens in Cush. I mean, let's be honest, dude. Our offensive line isn't that great, and offensive tackle wasn't extremely deep in this draft, but guard was. Interior offensive linemen were extremely deep in this draft. So I think, getting one in the 5th day is not an extremely crazy thought. And I do think his small school hurt him a little bit. So there we go. All right. I'm done being positive because now we're on one of the worst picks in my eyes. Maybe the worst pick. Yeah, it is. Yeah, clearly. Marcus Harris, cornerback from California, 5'11", 189. So he's not a huge guy. He's not super fast. I mean, the only thing I can see that fits is his best trait is press coverage. And we all know our defensive coordinator loves to use cornerbacks with press coverage. Other than that, I don't really see any value to this pick at all. God, the lowest ranking I saw was 323, which is an undrafted ranking. So I don't know, man. I just don't get this one very much. I gave it a C, maybe even a C minus. Now that I'm thinking about it a little harder, I don't know. I just hated this pick. What do you think?
You need corner, you get corner. That's kind of what it feels like to me. Again, you're in the later rounds at this point. You're kind of filling for need. You look at what's on the board. I mean, I guess there are things. He has some decent tape. Like you said, his press is pretty impressive. So I don't know. I don't hate it, but again, it's a later round. I don't love it either. I don't know that there's. If I look back, I don't know that there's anybody they could have taken here that would have got me excited. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
it's just I don't know. It's whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. It's okay. I give it I don't know B minus C plus somewhere in that range.
I'll be real. I would have a higher letter grade on this if this was Restrepo. And I know we got him as a UFDA, and I get that, but I'm just saying, this is how little I think of this pick. I would be happier if we took Restrepo, who didn't even get drafted, than taking this dude. Just my thoughts on it. Special team ace, but God, I hope so. I don't know. I'm just frustrated with this pick. Obviously, like you said, super late in the draft, not expecting to do much at this point, but I do expect developmental players, which is like the guy we're going to talk about next, but I just didn't feel like this was it. But moving on. Superman. I love this dude. I'll be honest with you. The dude's name is Kal-El. I actually knew a guy that I worked with, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. His name was Kal-El because his dad was a huge fan of the Superman series. And anyway, the point is that I love the name, and the guy's 6'2", 234. He's a downhill runner, and he does well at breaking tackles, running through people. So that is exactly, and if we get into a situation like we had last year where Tony Pollard's banged up, Tajay Spears is banged up, we're trying to use them as sparingly as we can. This is a better option in my eyes than Julius Chestnut. I like Julius Chestnut, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I just feel like this is better. So I gave it a B plus because I do feel like he's going to make the 53-man squad. I do think he's probably going to end up our third running back for the season. So I give that a B plus. Again, good developmental player. In 2 years, he could be our Tony Pollard for a lot less money. So there's that. What do you think?
Man, is it too soon to say this guy kind of gives off Derrick Henry vibes? The big, physical, downhill, get to the second level runner. Obviously, he's a late draft pick. I'm not saying he is Derrick Henry, but it's going to be exciting to see somebody that size suit up in a Titans uniform because he gives you something different than Pollard and Spears. He gives you that big back that able to run through the defense. So yeah, I think this pretty much says that Chestnut's job is no more. This is a guy who's been kind of clinging onto this roster the last few years. You had Haskins there for a while. You had Chestnut. I think this kind of takes the place of that. I think this is a guy who you can develop to be a good back. Like if you look at the running backs now, and last year they were definitely a little more important. But what you're looking for is a running back is that first 4 to 5 years of when they come out of college, when they're young, when they're their most physical. So yeah, I think you got good value with this one. I think he does have some playing time, and I think within 2 to 3 years, yeah, I think we could sit back and say, man, we really stole him in round 6. But again, this was another draft where not only was it very deep at receiver, but it was very deep at running back too. You had a lot of talented guys taken a little bit later than they would have been in other drafts. I think that's kind of what caused him to fall a little bit, being from Michigan and having a little bit of that star power. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I give this one. We'll go. I actually like A on this. I like A. I'll give this one an A.
All right. I like that, man. I don't give out a lot of A's, especially not this deep in the draft. But I like that. B plus for me is about as good as you're going to get in the 7th or 6th round, but still not bad. So common theme. Anybody pick up on the common theme of the draft? Big and fast. If you didn't, big and fast. Every single
Yeah.
one of these guys is over 6 foot, except for the pick that I hated. Every single one of them. And our slowest receiver is Tyler Lockett, which isn't bad. That's not a bad thing, you know.
No.
I'm really happy about that. Our slowest receiver is like a 4.6, maybe a 4.7 guy. Fantastic. We got 4.4 guys, 4.3 guys, 4.5 guys. That's what I'm looking for. So we have gotten bigger and faster. And even if the guys don't make the starting roster, bigger and faster equals better special teams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you've got anybody that's good at scheming the plays, bigger and faster equals better special teams.
Yep.
So if nothing else, I give that grade to Bergonzi over Rand Carthon. You know, a lot of people were asking me, well, what's the difference between, because I see, you know, Rand Carthon tried to get high athletic guys with big, you know, RAS scores. And what's the main difference? The main difference to me is speed. We have went and got speed everywhere. Not only do we get speed, but we got speed that's long, rangy, which is exactly what you want on an open field tackle. So I really feel like even if these guys aren't starters, they're special teams players. And they're a lot better than the special teams players we had last year. There's my common theme for the draft. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think speed was definitely on the agenda. And if you look at the difference in this class and last year's, you can definitely see, you know, Carthon wanted to build this receiver room through free agency. He brought in guys like Ridley and Hopkins. Clearly, this management says, no, we're going to try to get these young receivers in the draft, pair them with a young quarterback, and roll with it and see what happens. So, yeah, they're kind of all chips in at this point. I think you definitely became a more competitive football team throughout this. I did not think the Titans could have a draft that I would give over a B plus, and I feel like I gave them an A minus at this one. Like I feel like when I average it together, they barely squeaked out that A minus. But granted, again, it's really hard to fail a draft when you have as many needs as they did. I don't know that
is true.
Unless they were taking kickers and punters in the second round, like it would have been really difficult to have a bad draft for the Titans. So I'm happy with it. I'm excited. I think there's going to be some interesting things to come. This definitely made things to watch for at training camp, the wide receiver battles, the tight end battles. Who Cam is able to build that connection with early, with Restrepo coming in as a UDFA. I would imagine they're already going to have that chemistry together. Going to be interesting to see who he builds it with next. And then just the leadership. You know, we talk about the leadership, how he's done it at every level, at every school he's been to, how that translates to an NFL locker room, because it's a different environment. You've got guys that have been there 10, 15 years that like the way they do things and they're set in their ways, but you're bringing Cam in to kind of change the culture and change the mentality. So, yeah, I like the draft. I think there's a lot of things to look forward to, and A minus. I'm happy with it.
All right, man. Let's talk about some trades real quick. We'll try to go over this a little quick. First trade down was from 35 to 52, and we get pick 82 also.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll be honest, man. I talked to a lot of people about trading down. I didn't like trading down in the first round. I love trading down in the second round. And I feel like for pick value, that was an A trade for me. That's fantastic value. You didn't have to give up another fourth round pick to get a third round pick. I didn't think that was possible, but they pulled it off, and that's all that matters.
Burden was available at that point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's why I give this one That's why I give this one a B. I want to give it an A, and I think time will tell. I think it can turn
Yes.
into an A, but you took your receivers in the later round. You traded back to get a guy who hasn't really been tested at the position he's playing at edge with Oladejo. But it bought you Winston, who was there in the third. So if Winston becomes this player that he was supposed to be, prior to the injury, then I think it was well worth it. But if these young receivers don't work out and Cam's struggling to find people the ball, and you've got Burden over here who's vying for rookie of the year, like it's going to be tough. So I don't know. You pass that receiver up and take a chance on an edge guy and get your third round pick. So I give it a B. I want to love it. I'm glad that they were able to pick it up, but it would have been nice to have that top tier receiver there in the second round.
See, man, this is that super cerebral shit that I was talking about, man. You don't get that with regular people. You just don't, man. The way you thought about that and the way you explained that was perfect, man. Because, yeah, you're right. If Winston turns out, that is an A+ trade. If Oladejo sucks and Winston doesn't come back from the injury, then it's a C- trade.
Well, and it's not just that, but even if Winston comes back from the injury and he's highly successful, but Cam Ward can't find his footing and can't find his connections early, then I still think that's a fail. Even if you get a Pro Bowler in Winston,
if Burden is rocking it.
Yeah, because that's not what you're needing right now. You're needing that quarterback. You want to have him as many weapons as possible. So even if the defense succeeds, if Cam fails, the season fails. I mean, that's what it feels like.
That is real. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I mean,
so
that's huge pressure to put on.
That's why it's tough for me to love that pick, just because you had that receiver there, and I wasn't in the interviews. I don't know what that was like, but you had that receiver there. You had your opportunity, and you felt like you were better with these later round guys.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. I liked Burden. I really did. But there was something there. I don't know, man. I don't know if it was the production or just I don't know. There was something there that kept me a little bit hesitant on Burden.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. Knowles went, I think, 3 picks earlier.
Oh yeah.
I think if Knowles is there, I don't know that trade happens.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with you too. I think we'd have probably taken Jalen. Yeah.
Yep.
That's hard to say no to. I mean, it's just too much talent there.
Yeah. So
all right, let's
talk
about the other pick. The other trade. The other trade was 141 and 178 for 136 and 183. Mm-hmm. I don't know why the Ravens decided to just give us some draft capital.
I figured it out. This was reparations for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's what it was. They felt bad. They were like, damn, y'all, I guess we're going to toss you a bone. Thank you for that.
This was discussed before they signed Henry. It was like, hey, y'all let him go. We'll take him. We got you. We'll figure out a way to get you back. Like, that's all this was.
Well, not only Henry, man. I mean, Mason.
There you go.
Calico. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But, yes. A trade, if you ask me, it gets an A again. Because I don't know. Deals like this don't happen in the NFL. I really don't know how the hell this happened. Yeah. But whatever, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So overall, I gave it a B+. Overall, everything, all the picks, all the trades, everything that happened in the draft, B+. What's your overall grade? Did you say a B?
Yeah, no, I went A-. I went A-. And I'll be honest with you, what put me over the edge was Cam Ward, which is obviously the most simple pick. But I'm telling you, like, I'm just so impressed with this stuff coming out about this guy. Like, I don't know. It literally, like, I want to run through a wall for this dude, and I've never even met him. Like, just hearing the leadership, hearing, how vocal he is, how the coaches talk about him, what it's like from the time he walks in the room. Like, I'm telling you, I'm super excited about this guy, and the Titans do not have a great track record of talent development when it comes to quarterbacks. And I know you've got Brian Callahan, and he's worked with some of the best. And I just really hope they can put this thing together, because I want to see this dude succeed. I really want to see this dude succeed. And that's what put me over the edge. Just the stuff I've heard about him took me from a B+ to an A-.
Yeah, I agree. I'll be honest with you, man. Cam Ward elevates this draft. If they trade down and miss out on Cam Ward, for me personally, I know there's a lot of people out there that might disagree with me, and maybe in the 2 years down the road, I'm singing a different tune. But for me, if they would have passed on Cam Ward, I feel like that would have been just a massive disappointment.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying Jameis Winston is like a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but let's be real. You put Jameis Winston on the Titans instead of Marcus Mariota. Feel like that story goes a little bit different. And it has nothing to do with anything but the character.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I see in Cam. I see a high character guy that, like I said earlier, elevates the people around him. That's what makes him special.
Yep.
And everybody you hear talk about him talks about that leadership quality,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that he is working 100% of the time. That's all I can ask for. I mean, it's really all you can ask for. But final thoughts. I did want to mention, by the way, I forgot to mention last time on the last show, but we do have a little bit of new merch. If you did not notice, I'm wearing it. Titans Global Podcast, new shirts, and it, tighten up, peace out on the back. Anybody that, wants one, just DM me. If you don't, it's cool, man. I'm not going to be upset about it. But just thought. Any final thoughts, Link?
Yeah, no, just stay with us, stay tuned. A lot of cool stuff coming up. We got rookie mini camps, training camps. We kind of started talking about it tonight, but just some of the battles that are going to be there. There's going to be a lot to talk about. This is still going to be an interesting off season. So stay with us, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Absolutely, man. I very much agree with you. I think rookie mini camps will be interesting. I think the OTAs will be. I think it'll be another one of those off seasons where we pay attention to every little detail, and we will be here to bring you all those details. So we appreciate you guys staying with us, watching us, and conversating with us in the comments. If you do like our show, man, like and subscribe. Maybe share it, whatever platform you watch it on. We appreciate the YouTube views and shares and likes. That's what we're trying to go for. But hey, whatever you watch us on, we appreciate any support at all. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Our draft grade show. We will be back for rookie mini camps, OTAs, and then training camp will just start our regular shows again. So we're getting through this off season one day at a time. Till next time, Titans fans. Tighten up. Peace out.